half-time, West Bromwich Albion. Wow, I was wondering. I'd love to have been a fly on the wall in that Chelsea dressing room at that particular moment. With the greatest respects to the Albion, and again, don't want to sound disparaging. Brilliant effort from them at the weekend. When you put the two 11s against each other, there should only ever be one outcome here.
Oh, definitely. I mean, look, Pereira and Diangana are fabulous players. Technically, really, really good. Robinson had probably one of the best days he's ever had as a professional football player. But if I think about Chelsea, so much was expected. If I think about Chelsea and I think, what's Frank's team? Who's in goal? Who's the centre-backs? Who's the midfield pairing? I don't know. No. It doesn't jump out at you like it does with Jurgen Klopp. And again, if you look at this, Caballero's in goal. I know Kepa's pretty much been dropped. They signed another goalkeeper. Christensen, Thiago Silva. That's the first time we've seen that. He doesn't really trust Alonso.
Not in a 4.
Doesn't trust him. James is a fabulous player. So I'm saying there's only really one in there that he trusts at the moment. And then the midfield balance, he's trying to find that. We think back to those great Chelsea teams. Carvalho and Terry and Cech, and then you had Makelele, Essien and Frank.
Drogba down there.
Frank's still trying to find his team.
The core.
And I think the spine of his team. And I think that's why he's having some of these issues. He doesn't have the spine of the team. He doesn't have the leaders that he needs. They've spent a lot of money on really good players. Kai Havertz is a great player. But the core of the team isn't there.
Well, I mean, when you look at the bench here, look, that's the 11 he started with. You got Kepa, you got Jorginho, Ross Barkley, Tomori, Giroud, Hudson-Odoi, Azpilicueta. There's Pulisic injured, Hakim Ziyech, Ben Chilwell. Can you have too many? Can you have too many? Because it gives you the licence to keep chopping and changing all the time, searching for... Whereas if you haven't got as many, you just do what Slaven Bilic has got to do, and he knuckles down with 15 and comes up with pretty much an 11 that know what they're doing.
Well, that is in Frank's defence, is the fact he doesn't have his best team. So if you think about, that's going to be James and that's going to be Chilwell. That's going to be Thiago Silva and maybe Tomori. Rudiger, he's fallen out of favour with Tomori. I like Rudiger. That would be a good pairing. Yep. And then you got Kante and Kovacic, Havertz there. That's going to be Pulisic. That's going to be Ziyech, and that's going to be Timo Werner. That's a really good team. But is it a team to push Man City or Liverpool? No. It's a really good team, but still, I think that defensively, they're going to have some issues.
He's in over 40 Premier League games. Frank Lampard has used, in 40 Premier League games, he's used over 20 different central defensive combinations. Which again, if you're chopping and changing that much, when you look at the champions team, pretty much anyone in the world watching this show right now can pretty much name it, apart from maybe one or two. Is it Henderson? Is it Fabinho? Is it, one or two you could maybe, but it's pretty much set in stone, isn't it?
Well, even a casual football fan could name Liverpool starting 11, couldn't they?
Yeah.
And I think even Chelsea fans, they're not sure what their best team is, what their best players are. And I think we're 3 games in. I know they spend a lot of money, but still, the signs aren't there that base is there. I know he's got some world-class players, he really does, but he's got to get the base right. And I'm not sure he trusts many of them at the moment, and maybe that's why they're having some of the issues they are.
Chelsea fullbacks, I mean, again, we'll continue this theme with fullbacks, because it fascinates me where you can have someone that's so comfortable playing in a 5, and then you can have someone that looks so totally out of sorts and uncomfortable when they're asked to play in a back 4. Chelsea have had problems in the fullback area this season. This was against Liverpool at the Bridge a couple of weekends ago. Obviously, we've got Jorginho, a central midfield player, just dropping in there. It's still a back 4, but Marcus Alonso never seems to me, Owen, to know absolutely when he should go to the ball, when he should stay narrow. He's never really developed that for a very experienced player, and I've been surprised. And Reece James has issues with what's going on in these areas behind him. Watch how this develops. I mean, it was a brilliant goal from Sadio Mane and great football. There's the 1-2 with Alonso. Look, he's got done. So the ball's gone. Now, once your opposing team gets there, as the deepest fullback, now time to switch on, isn't it, and understand exactly where your man is.
I always found that one of the hardest things as a fullback, when you played as a fullback, because I was a central midfield player, but I played there a lot.
Once they get there towards the byline.
When the ball's on the other side as a fullback, I'm trying to be worried about the back 4 of the line. Do I step up? I'm trying to be worried about him. I'm worried about the ball as well. So there's a lot of issues, and you need to make real-time decisions, and it's hard. And Reece's body shape is just a bit off, and you get caught. It's really hard when the ball's on the other side not to get caught ball watching.
Tell me then, so what sort of body shape should he have here? I mean, when Firmino gets beyond Alonso, So how should his body shape be there? He's quite closed there. He's facing the ball. But what are you saying? Just
well the thing is, the man's going to score, not the space, and he's worried about. And I get it. He's worried about the ball coming in there, and somebody gets a tap in, and everybody looks at him. So he's thinking, oh, I'll cheat. I'll get there. But in the end, rather than the ball go there, where does it come?
Yeah,
it comes back into there. So really, he's got to worry about Mane. Stay tight to Mane. He's physically stronger than Mane. If the ball gets up there and they meet halfway, bump, he can win the header or he pushes him. Problem is, he's looking at the ball and he loses sight of Mane. And great recognition from Liverpool.
Yeah,
that
brilliant.
just that bit of quality there. There's only a yard or two, Andy.
Yeah.
And you get punished. And they're tiny margins. But when you play against the top players, like we said about Liverpool knowing when and where, these guys know when and where to play the ball, and they score.
This is the difference. So against Liverpool, you can kind of understand a little bit what was going through their minds. Sorry, I'm just going to roll this forward because this was how Chelsea conceded their first goal. So there's Marcus Alonso playing in a back four with Thiago, with Christensen. Reece James playing in a back four is almost, dare I say it, slightly in advance of where the ball is in a back four. Any mistake here, his job has got to try and recover, because if there's a mistake, Thiago's got to get across, he's got to get across, and he's got to get in there, Owen. And I always think some of these younger fullbacks nowadays lack the responsibility required in a back four.
Yeah, but Andy, I get that, and you're right, he's fractioning out. That header from Alonso
I agree.
Doesn't exist. I don't. Just head it down the line.
I
Take
agree.
the pressure off. Square. We always say never pass the ball square in midfield. You get picked off. He heads it into midfield.
Yeah, and now, of course, Reece James, the minute that ball is picked up in this position, he knows he's going to be in trouble.
He knows he's out of position. And I think for Frank, I feel sorry for him, because he keeps trusting the players to play, trying to find the blend. But again, Alonso makes another mistake. How easy is that to slide that in down for Robertson? And really, it looks like the situation's gone. They got the back four back in. They got the two in front. You know, it's 6'2". They shouldn't score.
Yeah.
But between the legs, great finish. And all of a sudden, then Chelsea, you're on the back foot. Yeah. And then think about it. You know, then this happens. I mean,
you can't legislate.
No, you can't. So two mistakes. One from Alonso, hugely experienced. One from Thiago Silva.
I'm just going, before I go on to the next one, just want to roll that back. Just excuse me, just 1 second. I'll roll that back, Owen, because when that ball goes to Thiago, because he's such a decorated player, should Christensen have been here anyway? Should he have been a little bit deeper of his man, or should he be thinking in any way, shape or form he might miscontrol that and they might get in? Do you think that? Don't forget, he's one down. They are one down in the game.
I mean, we are talking about one of the best centre-backs of the last decade.
But everyone makes mistakes.
Yeah, they do. But look, I'm just not a fan of the stud role. You know, he tries to stud it, goes underneath him. And he could be in a bit better position, but he's trusting his player. You know, he's trusting his teammate that he's going to be in the right spot, as is Reece James.
Yeah, I'm just going to pause that here, just for this corner. Now, I always think in open play, when mistakes like that happen, like we just saw, sometimes you can't legislate for them, like the Thiago one. When it's a dead ball, you get a chance, and every team that plays Premier League football, there's a sheet goes up on the board before the game. It'll have your name and it'll have who you're marked.
Yeah.
Done it?
Yeah, it does.
And the coaches will be walking around the dressing room saying, "You pick him up. Don't let him make first contact from any wide free kicks or corners." Everyone knows where they are. Marcus Alonso here is picking up Kyle Bartley. He's picking him up. So Marcus Alonso knows full well his responsibility. So why, Owen, does that ball, when it's pinged out, why does this happen? Look.
Because players ultimately, they just chase the ball. Look, everybody's eyes are on the ball. The thing is as well, credit Slaven Bilic. He knows that Chelsea had issues with set pieces last season. Look where he plays this ball.
Yeah, he does.
Not into where the players are. He wants the second one. He knew that they're going to be all on that side. Simple as you like, but you're right. That comes down to X's and O's on the training ground, because players often defend the first one, but that second phase one, which Slaven Bilic noticed, you know, they teams don't defend that, and I think credit West Brom for exploiting that.
I just want to have a look at this little, I beg your pardon, it's not these ones, it's this one. Because first half we saw Manchester City against Leicester, right? And we saw them vulnerable in that sense, where the Mendy and Walker, this was Chelsea's first half positions against West Bromwich Albion, where they were 3 down. Reece James in a back four, he's over the halfway line. For me, there's Thiago Silva, as brilliant as a player as he is, he's 36. He's not 26. He's 36. He ain't getting any better. He can only, and he's strolled every game for Paris Saint-Germain for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Playing in the Premier League is going to be a completely different. Surely these guys would have thought, do you know what? Just for the first game, I'll give him a little. We'll just make sure we don't give anything much away.
Yeah.
To me, I mean, there's far too much emphasis right there and now on Chelsea thinking they can just go and outscore everyone, and they're not good enough here.
No, and I think Thiago Silva would prefer having a bit of protection. Alonso in there, James in there.
Yeah.
You know, and there's no width. You know, so I think when there's no real natural width, we saw with Liverpool, there's natural width, so they can keep the ball. And I think if you look at the way City played and the way Chelsea played, look, there's no real width. It's from the fullbacks, and that means the fullbacks are out of position.
Yeah.
Space down the sides, which is not great for these two.
I wonder if they've watched that yesterday or this morning.
I hope not.
The Chelsea boys. Nothing worse as a player when you've had a nightmare performance and you might have even played really bad yourself, and you get in and then you see the video screens all set up, ready
I hated
to go.
that.
When you have to sit there and watch it all again.
You're trying to hide under the chair, aren't you, not to get picked out.
And you're laughing at all your teammates and the mistakes that they're making.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's a nightmare. Right, where are we? Back post defending, Owen. What's going on with concentration levels of fullbacks, maybe wide midfielders? You mentioned you hated being in this position when the ball's on that side. We're seeing a lot of situations coming where eventually the ball arrives at the back post. There appears to be good numbers there. Bruno Fernandes, is he marking? Is he marking here or not? Is he supposed to be?
I think he knows he's supposed to be, but he doesn't really want to be there. But because these boys are all kind of squeezed over and there's too many over there, they just get overloaded. And Solly March had a magnificent game. He was in the whole game. Honestly, you could have had 3 or 4 of those. But and I think the attacking players don't really want to get there.
Reece James here. He's not marking anybody, so he's zoning along the 6-yard line. But anything in this area as a zonal player is your responsibility, correct?
Yeah, and you're right. Because they're not marking anyone, he just needs to drop off. Just drop off. All these players aren't really doing anything. Look at that. I love that ball. It's so intelligent.
It is an intelligent
It's so
ball.
subtle, but actually, and I think Frank now, he'll be ready for that one next time around.
Matt Ritchie here at the top of the screen. He's chasing back Lucas Moura, who's very, very quick. Not easy to make that ground up, but he kind of at that point, I mean, it looks like he's got there. And then again, right at the last minute, does he just travel? Is he just ball watching? What's going on here?
That's why this ball is so difficult to defend, because you're worried about scoring an own goal. Slides it across there. He thinks, oh, there's nobody there, and then bang, it's in. So that's why defending that position when the ball's on the other side is really difficult.
Yeah. Again here from the Arsenal game last night, this happens a lot, particularly with Trent Alexander-Arnold with the quality of his crossing. But you're going to see as this ball goes back and is eventually delivered, here comes Robertson. What's Willian doing there? Does he want to pass him on? Well, he could do maybe because there's 3 on 2 here. Could he pass him on? Should he go with him?
Because he knows he's behind. He's way behind. Robertson's got a head start. That's why Robertson runs in there. He's got to talk to him. He's got to talk to Bellerin, Holding and Bellerin there. They don't communicate, and Willian knows. That's why your head goes down, because you know, that was mine.
I've let him go.
That was mine.
Yeah, indeed. Leroy, we've seen some really interesting stuff here with regards to fullbacks and defending. I know you ghosted in on the back post a few times over the years. What are the fans saying about any of this? What do you think?
Well, lots of issues around defending.